Hey, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said in my previous video and stuff, actually the video before the last video, that we were going to do a video on potatoes, making French fries out of our own baby potatoes. I'm just showing you some moringa right there, and the two baby sproutling plants that I just showed you are from my new Patreon. Thank you so much for joining us over at Patreon, and that was your new little baby when it was a tiny, tiny little baby tree. But they're much bigger now. And this right here are the potato plants. Now, for anybody who has not seen the previous videos about what we're doing here, I took some potatoes that were, and you can see, oh, there's a little ladybug right there. He's doing his job. The potatoes were for pot roast potatoes. They were little tiny red and white potatoes, and they were expired. They got exposed to some light. I shouldn't say expired. They got exposed to some light and started sprouting. Well, if you guys know anything about me, I'm like waste not, want not. I don't really like to throw things away. And normally you would, because you can't eat them once they've sprouted. They become toxic. So I went ahead and I got some extra soil, and I used my buckets that already had drain holes that I drilled out of the bottom of them. And I prepped them for growing. Now, I didn't really know how well this would go off, but I figured it would be a very fun thing to do. And then I thought I'll actually record, this and kind of follow it along. Now, they were huge, green, luscious plants. They were doing so great. Then I moved them over to this side of the porch. And I guess like a lot of my other plants do not like to be moved once they're going, I guess, because I always get this reaction where one of them started getting spots. They kind of struggled a little bit, and although they were still really big and green, I wanted to give them a little bit more strength, some more nutrients. So, and I was a little reluctant to do this, but there I found one. But what I did was I actually fed them some seaweed and kelp and fish fertilizer. And I was a little weary because almost all my plants that I use this specific kelp and fish fertilizer have had an aphid breakout. Now, again, this plant was already getting spots and stuff because it was being attacked by something else, and I wanted to give it some strength. But apparently, that was the wrong thing to do. I'm not saying that wouldn't work for you. I'm just saying in this particular case, after the stress of moving, oh, there's a little ladybug. We'll find a place to put it. It actually ended up, and I didn't notice fast enough, but again, I had an aphid breakout like you would not believe. Now, even indoors, when I've used that particular fertilizer, I've had aphid breakouts. And so, if any of you know, can a fertilizer actually have aphid eggs in them? Would you please leave a comment down below and let me know and everyone else? Because I am telling you, I swear, with this particular brand and that particular mixture, I have had an aphid breakout every time. And I know people say it's because it's over fertilized and they can smell that and show up. But when you have plants that are contained indoors and no aphids, getting aphids, it's kind of like something else is going on here. Now, a couple of these potatoes that I'm pulling out of this particular plant, this plant and the plant on top got hit really hard with the bugs, and I was way too late in getting the ladybugs in. They're just dying off really bad. So I decided we're going to go ahead and pull some out. But these ones, you can tell, these last potatoes that I pulled out were too close to the top of the soil, so they have a really dark side. In the dark side, I'm not going to eat those because they were exposed to the sun, and it can change the chemical in the potatoes. They might be fine, but I like to play it safe with potatoes, and I'll only eat things that don't have any green in them and that haven't been exposed to the sun, like they're not sprouting or anything. And this particular one just kind of had some little ones still in it. I'm not really getting big ones out of it. I think it was once it started getting shock from the bugs and stuff like that, it was just not doing so great. The one that was the biggest plant, which is this plant, and it remained relatively good size. I may have gotten the ladybugs on it fast enough. These potato plants didn't even get a chance to bolt or to flower and to die back. They literally just got such a bad infestation that I really tried to save them. And the ladybugs did a really great job, but I was too late. It was my bad. I was just simply too late in getting them in. And I think we would have been able to save them more and possibly get more potatoes. But the potatoes we did get, I'm really, really happy with it. I even still have them going to this point, even right now, this late in summer. I live in the desert, because was able to get some really good potatoes out of them. And one of them's still pretty leafy, and then the other two are kind of coming back. And I probably should have attached some photos of them, some of the plants kind of coming back a little bit. I don't know if I'm just going to keep an eye on them, and I'll let you know, if it's significant that how they're doing. But I think I was just overjoyed. I'm really so tickled that you can take something that you would normally just throw into the garbage, because there's no way you're eating it after they become toxic like that and sprout, and take some soil that I have and use some buckets that I had and grow some more food. It kind of helped me a little bit too, to feel like I didn't just waste this little bag of potatoes that went bad, that started sprouting, and that I was actually able to get some food out of it anyway. The real challenge in this video, this is one of the, what I will call a seed potato, but these were not seed potatoes. These were literally from a bag of pot roast potatoes. So this was one of them, although it kind of is swelled up and big and cracked, and it has a little baby potato on it. I'm not going to leave it in though, even though it might still grow and be good. I'm just not going to leave it in. I'm going to give the potatoes that are growing in here more room to grow. So I'm going to leave this one out, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of recover this back up and dig a little bit more here. But because I did watch some videos on how to do this better. I didn't have topsoil to keep topping off as the potatoes grew and as the plants grew up. You keep topping it off, so that's why I think some of them were too close to the top and got dark, where I wouldn't eat them. And I think most of them were fine. This one just did so well in producing some really good little potatoes that we could cut up and make French fries out of. Now, I've told you even from youth, I don't mind the starchiness of potatoes. I'm actually known to eating potatoes raw. So that's how I was kind of like, I'm really into this. Like, I'll just dig them up and eat them, And I even like the little ones that you can just dig them up and kind of, I want to compress my dirt down to watering this guys a little bit and compress my dirt down a little bit more. And I just love it. So I'm going to wash these off and get them inside. Here we go, and show you what we have here. So I'm super excited about this. I put the two to the side that we're not going to eat, but these absolutely came out beautiful and definitely edible. These two, I just didn't feel good about eating these two. Again, this is what happens when they're exposed to the sun. They're just too close to the top of the soil. I don't know enough about, this really to feel safe about eating this, especially when there's little eyes starting and stuff. But let's go ahead and try these. I'm going to try them raw first. Definitely as starchy as a normal potato. Kind of tasted pretty much like a normal potato to me. How a potato would taste, how it should taste. I like the little ones that are bite-sized, but what we're going to do with these, this size one, going to cut them up into tiny little slices, and we're going to fry them. Make our little French fries, so we don't have to go out and get any French fries. They're such tiny little French fries, but it was fun. I also decided to fry them in regular table butter. Excuse me. This is salted table butter, so I just decided to do that instead of like olive oil, and they came out super, super cute and super delicious. I actually think they came out really tasting really quite good. Not quite as crispy as I was hoping. I could have gone a little further. Like some of these in here, obviously I could have gone a little further.
I like that I use the salted butter because then I don't have to add any salt, like sea salt. But olive oil would be good too, I think, to get the higher heating rate so it's crispy. They're really good.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Bye.